and welcome back to Fandom Spotlite's weekly review of Moon Knight on Disney Plus. Obviously, you guys are supposed to like and subscribe to this channel. Y'all should have been on that so that y'all know that this is what's coming out, because we've been watching everything. Y'all been watching everything. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. I am your newly minted host for this week, Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics, and joining me was supposed to be two, but better than that, it's just me and you. It is Forever Cap's lady Jaz. Jaz, what's up, girl?
Hello, thank you.
How we doing?
Thank you for hosting. Doing pretty good.
That's what I'm here for. Have you had a good week? Good, got you.
Oh yeah,
got your mind right for Moon Knight.
We're getting close to the concert time, so there's a lot of work going on that. So
that's
it'll
awesome.
Be a good time.
No, that's awesome. And I appreciate in all of your work schedule and all that good stuff that you've taken the time to join us in this conversation. Okay, so normally we have another person. So those people that are watching, like Geek to my Nerd, you are going to be our unofficial other person on this thing here. So leave some questions in the chat, because we definitely want to holler at you as much as we're going to holler about this episode. Speaking of, this is week 4, week figgity 4, The Tomb. We are over the hump, right?
Yep.
We're in this
already
space
halfway through.
Exactly. So let me ask you, on a lunar scale of new moon, quarter moon, half moon, full moon, how would you rate this episode?
Well, compared to the rest of the series so far, I'll give it a half moon.
You give it a half moon? That's fair. I think that's fair. I'm kind of in the same space. Have you been enjoying this series, like as a blanket statement overall?
Honestly, I feel like, I've said this before, that there's been better Disney series out there. Like WandaVision's been better, Falcon and Winter Soldier's been better. I'm enjoying this. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Right.
I definitely was surprised by some stuff from at the end of the episode. I wasn't expecting quite. So yeah,
okay. I think that's solid. I agree. Like, I think this show has been a very interesting experiment overall. There's some things about it that, as a writer, drive me up a wall, but I'm trying not to, put my writer hat on the whole time. So as long as you're enjoying it and I'm enjoying it, I think they're doing a decent job. They could be doing better, but that's all right. That's opinions.
Well, maybe they should have you write it. So
hey, you heard that, y'all. Y'all heard that. Come get us. That's what we do. Come get us podcast. I know y'all want to listen to that too. Okay, so here's a crazy question. Being that we are on the other side of things, more than halfway through, do you feel like we've gotten enough answers as we enter the end game, pun intended, of this series? We got 2 episodes left. Do we have enough time?
I don't think so. I by the end, I was like, oh, finally some answers are starting to make sense now. And then things happen. I'm like, oh, never mind. It doesn't make sense at all. So, it's really hard to say.
I know, right?
As soon as I feel like I figured it out, they throw something new at me, and I'm just like, okay. It's
kind of all over. Okay, so what is your core understanding of the story? Like, as we get it, right? We know, or we assume, that Harrow is the bad guy. Like, that's the assumption. He wants to bring back a Met that's going to judge humanity as a whole, which means some people might die, some people won't. It's like a whole Thanos situation all over again. Beyond that, I really don't know what's happening. Like, it's just kind of like a series of events. Is that just me?
No, and I'm not well versed in the Moon Knight comics story either. I'm coming into this with fresh new eyes as a newbie to the Moon Knight franchise. And it's definitely trippy. It's a trip.
I absolutely agree with that. Okay, considering this episode, did you have a standout player in this week's episode, whether that was Layla, Steven, Mark, if you want to, Harrow himself, anybody stand out to you?
Say Layla, probably, because there was a moment when I was expecting, I don't know if we need to, I guess we can get into this part already, where they're in the tomb, I guess is where it's at, because the episode is called The Tomb.
The Tomb.
And they're trying to figure something out, I guess, and then there's this creature, and I'm like, oh God, like, is she gonna become like the next Avatar here? Like, I was waiting for that moment.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
And it hadn't happened yet. As Steven or Mark or whoever the hell that was said, squished it. So
right. I like that. I like that. Geek to My Nerd says, as soon as I have it figured out, they throw something else that's very Moon Knight. So thank you, Joe, for that clarity. Because I'm not a super Moon Knight fan either, which is crazy. As a comic book guy, you would think I'm well versed in everybody. He's one that I know very, very little of. So I'm like you. I'm just kind of here along for the ride. But in order to start this off, I do want to warn everybody, we're about to do spoilers, okay? So if you're watching at home and you haven't watched this episode...
Too late for that.
What are you doing? This is week 4. We've been doing this. Y'all got to know what's going on. But let's start off at kind of like the beginning of this. I mean, we do start off with Khonshu getting trapped in the stone statue and put on the shelf. How did you feel about that? Like, that kind of hurt me. It was like a double punch.
I mean... I don't really know how to feel about that because Khonshu's kind of a dick. So
that is true. That is true.
Okay, finally we get rid of this guy. I'm sitting here like trying to like keep all of Steven's different personalities straight, and there was a moment where Khonshu was talking through him. So I'm like, is this going to become a normal thing for us now?
Who is the voice?
I wasn't too sad to see that happen.
Okay. What about all the other statues that you saw there? Was that shocking? Because I was like, they are banishing people like it's something to do. Like, oh, really? You're banished. You're gone.
I mean, I can't really say I was that surprised by it. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure all this out as I'm watching it. And I mean, we've basically have seen or heard talk of murder.
Right.
From like because of something, say I might do 40 years from now, somebody's gonna come and get me and banish me and put me away. So
that's kind of grounds. Yeah. All right, that's fair. Okay, so after that crazy opening, we get this nice little scene: Layla and Steven running in the dunes, trying to keep away from Haru's goons. Was I the only one who didn't realize that they were being chased? Like I didn't
I had no idea they were being chased too until later.
I was like,
so I think that might have been a misstep on the show's part then.
See,
if we both missed it.
Thank you. Or is that part of the play, right? Like stuff is happening out of continuity, and so it's just a sign of the broken. I have no idea, but it when the guy showed up with the guns, I was like, who are they? Like, where did that come from? Why are they attacking? I don't even understand this. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's weird that you brought up out of continuity, because I mean, I watched this other show that I'm very deeply grounded in. This Is Us, which is like going to be over this year, and they take things out of continuality in past, present, future, but it all makes sense in the end. And I'm not really sure if any of this is going to make sense.
I mean, this is going to be one of those things where like we're told like a separate order that we're supposed to watch it later, and then it'll like really line up. But like right now, it's just kind of like stuff is randomly happening. Geek to My Nerd said only like 5 gods showed up in the last episode. So I wonder if some of those statues were some of the gods that originally agreed, then changed their minds. That's an interesting one. I do
like that.
Yeah. It's kind of an explanation as to why some of the folks ain't around, like the avatars that are supposed to be, because your god is gone. Because they got banished, they got kicked out. All right, so let's be honest here. First part of this episode really was the Layla show, and we got so many different sides of her: the one-woman army, the lovelorn romantic, the noble daughter. Which was your favorite iteration?
The badass. I mean, I have to admit it. You know, I love seeing female characters kick ass. What can I say?
I agree with that. I mean, okay, I'm gonna give you a crazy one. Layla, if she was trained by Peggy Carter.
Oh, that one right now. I don't even have to vote for the other one. That's just right there.
That's it right there. All right. Let's canon that one in our heads, that in some way, shape, or form, she's like a former SHIELD something or other, and that's the connection right there. Because she was hardcore. I did appreciate her quite a bit. I like that. Okay, so I guess it was kind of inevitable, right? Like you have Steven, you have Mark, and Mark is obviously married to Layla. So the foundations for a love triangle were there.
But is he?
Is he
really?
You sound doubtful. Talk to me. Why you sound doubtful?
Well, I mean, again, I'm skipping ahead here, but in the end, we saw Mark in what I would assume is a mental hospital.
Right.
And this girl that looks an awful lot like Layla.
Super duper lot.
I would assume was a nurse, so it could have just been all in his head, or maybe not because of other things that happened a little bit later.
See, I didn't think that iteration of Layla was a nurse. I felt like she was another patient. There was something about her that looked a little manic.
Oh, that's true, because of the bingo card.
Yeah. Like I was like, I don't know.
Okay, so maybe they're both married and she's a little crazy too. Okay.
All right, so if she's actually married to Mark, are you team Mark or are you team Steven? Which one are you?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard for me because I mean I love Steven because he's such a little doofus, honestly. And I kind of, to be honest, I kind of like the accent that he has in it.
Okay.
But, I mean, there's something about Mark too.
You gotta. I mean,
really hard for me to choose because at first he seemed kind of like a jerk too when we first met Mark. So
it's true.
Jury's still out on that one for me. I think.
Okay. I definitely saw the kiss coming as they were building up to it. It was awkward though. I did not like watching them kiss. It was kind of like you've seen Big, right? Like
long time ago, but yeah.
Right? But like it looked like Elizabeth Perkins kissing like Tom Hanks, but after he turned back into a 12-year-old. Like that's what it looked like, because it was just like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like I wanted her to be like,
it felt really weird to me too. Like I liked it, but I hated it at the same time.
I like that. Ooh, Geeks My Nerd says that she, meaning Layla, was in Madripoor, could have made connections with Sharon. Ooh. Let's put a pin in that one. I want to come back to that because that could be magical. I definitely like that. Okay, so we see this kiss happen, and we get some rather comical moments here where Mark, arguably, kind of controls body parts of Steven, and we haven't seen that since the first episode. Was that a funny haha thing, or was that just kind of weird that they brought that back?
Weird for me. Like I was like, what's happening right here? Like I wasn't like I don't I'm like, okay, what personality are we gonna see next? Right? I mean, I'm not making fun of mental illness, but I'm just it's a lot. It really is a lot.
Definitely brutal. I thought it was mean though. Super mean. Like, why go for the face? It's your face too. Like, why bruise that up, man? That's messed up. That was a
so I was actually kind of think on that note though. I was like, so I was wondering whose body is that really? Is it really Mark's body? Is it really Steven's body? Like, how's, because everybody looks different, I would assume.
Yeah.
Which again, we will find out later on, I guess, in the episode. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not really sure of who's actually inhabiting who at this point.
Right. I was watching with my lady, and that scene where Layla's like, you smell like him. And she was like, oh, and I was like, why you sound disappointed? And she's like, I actually wanted them to smell differently. Like each one has its own like certain smell. And I was like, that's a lot, but okay, all right. You know, maybe they're into different soaps or something weird where biologically they actually are different people, which is
maybe that's why Mark controls his body parts so he can get the soap that he wants. I don't know.
He's like, Old Spice. No, I want this other one.
I want the Zest bar.
Sasquatch. That's what we want. That's what we want to smell like. That's hilarious. Okay, so once we get into the tomb itself, this is kind of crazy. Steven almost has like a superpower with the way that he can decipher ancient texts, hieroglyphics of all kinds. Does that make it even stranger that when we first are introduced to him, he's running the gift shop? He's not even running the gift shop. He's working the counter at the gift shop of this museum. Like, why is he not something way higher, way more important? Is that a telltale of what we get to later on, in your opinion? That things aren't what we think they are? How do you feel about that?
I think that's a safe bet.
Okay.
I almost want to say that there's a reason why he's at the position he's at, not in a celestial sense, I guess.
Ooh. Break that down a little bit for me. When you mean celestial,
I'm not really okay. So the show's called Moon Knight, so that's just where I went from there.
Right.
But I really hate to put that in with the Eternals films too, because But like, so a really smart person would have, like you said, a higher up job.
Mm-hmm.
However,
right,
if you are if cunning and you have a plot of some sort that you want to unhinge, you might kind of want to fly under the radar. Which, okay, Steven's not really doing all too well, honestly. But I mean, you wouldn't want something where people will be bugging you all the time. Actually.
Exactly. Strategery. So, you go in as the janitor, even though you could probably run the place, because no one's going to expect or suspect that you are this high position person. So, all right, that's pretty smart.
I mean, that gives me even more questions about this guy now, but
I mean, that's the way it's supposed to go. The puzzle, when they figure out what this maze is, that was nothing short of genius to me. Was that like a cool sort of aha moment? And did you figure out why it was projecting the Eye of Horus on the ceiling when he was flashing around?
I didn't. I feel like sometimes I kind of, as badly as it is, I've noticed I tune out sometimes. So I think I might have done that again, even though I'm sitting there like trying to take notes on this, so I can like pinpoint everything.
Right.
I mean, it sounded like he was going through the senses though.
Right.
So
okay, I don't remember him saying smell though.
Smell.
Did he say smell?
I think so.
I know the eyebrow was thought, the pupil is sight. They said the corner of the eye was hearing, the tongue was taste, voice, taste, all of those things. But I don't remember them saying like touch or smell. And so I was joking, like,
no, I'm not sure.
They only went through 4 senses. They just like, you get the rest. Like, you guys get it. You know what it is. I actually had to watch a breakdown video that explained that the material under whatever it was that he wiped was metal and reflective, and that's why the light was shining up on the ceiling.
Okay, because I was like, figure that one out. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah, because I'm like,
another little magical thing, you know?
Exactly. I'm like, oh, look, you discovered a clue. It's like a video game, and all of a sudden it's like, talk to that thing. That's the right spot to be in. That's hilarious. Okay, so they go further into this tomb and they find this room with this sacrificial altar, and we get introduced to a guardian that is probably one of the creepiest things I think I've ever seen on Disney Plus.
Oh, absolutely.
How did they get away with this? The chittering, like that, not okay. I had a problem with that. Like, severely had a problem with it.
I didn't like it either.
Okay, good. I questioned my my thugness. But if you had a problem with it too, then I'm not any less of a thug. Because
what, you think I'm a thug?
Absolutely. What are you talking about? You are the absolute thuggiest, like without question. Wait, Geek Tomato said they mentioned it like super quick because they marveled at the whole place being metal. Right, like it was something that I totally missed the first time that I watched it, and I literally had to watch a breakdown video to say that that's what that glowing piece was reflection. I'm like, oh, duh.
More power to you. I don't know if I could sit through this episode again.
I actually watched it twice and a breakdown. Okay, so again, everybody's seen this. Spoilers, guys. I got a five finger down or put a finger down challenge for you. So if you want to put 5 up here, Jazz, are you ready? Let's see. Would you do these things? Okay, these are the things that we saw in this episode. Would you hide behind a recently used sacrificial altar? Yes or no?
Sure.
Wow. See, I told you, you're a thug. There is no way. No way. Like Steven said, it has gooey chunks, meaty chunks on this thing. There's no way I'm hiding it. If I get in my no.
Oh, in it. I thought you said behind it.
No, behind it. Like Layla does. I still couldn't. If something dripped on me, the thing's gonna eat me.
I would scream, but I would still try to hide. That's for sure.
Respect. Okay, respect. Would you have made it across the wall crawl to get out of that big gaping hole that led into the infinite darkness? I'm scared of heights. So
I would have tried, but I would have failed. So I'm sticking with my 4 here.
You stick with your 4 on that one? Okay, that's fair. Would you have fought the zombie guardian thing with your bare hands?
Hell no.
Now, see, I would have done that one. I would have definitely, I would have done that one. So I get some thug points.
Again, I would not have survived that.
I mean, but you got to be willing though. You got to be willing to throw some hands, like just in case. Okay, so obviously we see that.
So we do 4.5 on that then.
4.5. Okay, yeah. You put me down like that.
If all you have is your hands, sure, but I would have tried to look for something else.
Something else you can swing and throw. Okay, that's
so
fair.
I'll do 4.5.
All right, that's fair. So Steven finds this lost sarcophagus, and he figures out who it belonged to. Would you have opened it? No, not even. I put it like there's some. I'm like, it's been lost for how long? There's no way I'm opening that up. Like I've seen The Mummy. I try to open it and dry acid spits out. There's a monster
chasing me. Yeah, I think it'd stay closed. Thank you.
Like forever. At least until somebody else comes. Like I'm like, hey, I need y'all to just one of y'all watch what I'm doing. You know, even if Haro was there, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna open this. Whatever happens, guys. I'm sorry. And then, of course, last but not least, since we know that it was Alexander the Great's sarcophagus, would you have put your hand down his throat to find the? I mean, it just stays down there, like you're done, like the little statue is done. You're not even gonna.
Can I just like throw it, like catch it on fire or something? I don't.
Wow!
I'll just burn it.
I mean, there was an axe. He could have just cut right through. Instead, he chose to take the long way. Yeah. That was a little gross. Geek to My Nerd said, hide behind the sacrificial altar to get away from that guardian. Yes, he definitely would have done it, and I'm not even mad. He absolutely talks about the clicks because those are the things that were scary. I just couldn't. Not at all.
That went on for a little too long for me. So. Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, speaking of the badassness that Layla was wielding with expertise, right? Did you find it at all diminishing when Haro starts talking to her, and though she tries to put on like the front, she drops a couple of thug tears? Did that diminish her at all?
I don't think so, but again, like I think this was the moment where I was expecting something to happen. Where,
okay.
You know, her body would be inhabited by a creature, or I mean, maybe it's already happened, and that's
it just hasn't come out
yet. You know.
Got you. I felt like it really kind of exposed a weird sort of relationship dynamic between her and Marc. The total conversation, revelation that Marc possibly had anything to do with the death of her father. And I'm like, you guys have been married for how long and that's never come up? Like, never? That's kind of weird to me. And only kind of leads further to the idea that maybe this all isn't real, because that is a little too much of a jump to have her be all in this space and place. But if it's not real, would Marc/Steven conjure up the conversation between Haro and Layla if that didn't actually happen?
You already lost me.
All right, that's fair. No, I mean, it's just the idea of like, that's a lot of like work for Steven or like whatever to create.
That's a lot right there. It's like already math I can't do. So.
It is a lot. That's true. Geek to My Nerd says, since we're getting close, my theory on the ward, where we wake up. I do want to talk about the Steven and Marc going like full Tyler Durden, absolute Fight Club, having conversations with themselves, actively fighting over position, and the sudden change after he gets the what's that word? Now I can't think of what the word of the statue is. It's a small statue. It's a beautiful statue, but I can't think of the word that they kept using.
But I'm not sure if that's right.
It might be, but we'll just keep going with it. But when Marc like kind of takes over, it didn't look like Steven gave that to him. No. But it looked like he took it. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, how come that hasn't quite been the thing in this episode so far? Because I mean, Marc was literally arguing with him, like, let me come back. If he could just take it, what was he waiting for?
I mean, so I've seen like the reverse side of it with Steven too. Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering if like there's a willpower with whoever inhabits the body that needs to be given away.
Okay.
For that to be able to happen.
I dig that. Thank you, Geek to My Nerd. Yashabti. That's how you say it. Thank you so much. Because I was like, I know it's something like this, but I know I'm gonna mess that up. Okay, so here we go. This is the crazy part where my writer brain kicked in and I could not turn it off. So the whole setup is that they found this tomb and they're going in there, and Haru's people has already been there, right? Like they're trying to figure out what's going on. How did Haru's people find it if Khonshu had to turn back the stars in order to make the map line up? Like they didn't have the map, like Steven and Layla did. So how did they find this?
That's a good question. And I think that's probably, I feel like that's something I probably missed tuning out to. So, but I mean, like if you have questions about it, then clearly it's not something that they really clarified either.
I didn't think so.
Something that we'll see in the coming episodes.
Okay. Maybe, or again, yet another clue that says that all of this isn't as we think it is, because there is no real reason for them to have shown up like that. So how did they get there? But of course, Haru and his men show up and easily find their way to Steven's location, or Mark's location at this point. And Haru doesn't take the peaceful route right now. Like normally he's all about the talkie, but that's not the move this time. So, you know, Geek to My Nerds said they had the scarab. Okay, so here's the thing. Didn't they have the scarab before? So was it they had the scarab and it was already leading them there, and Mark and everybody was trying to change the sky so they could catch up, or was it the other way around? Because I was under the impression it was the other way around. Maybe that was me. Maybe it did lose me too. So I know Geek to My Nerds going to let us know. I lost where I was going with that. But okay, so Haru comes in shooting. Was that unexpected?
That was to me. I mean, I'm not really sure of the time frame of where this all settles in the MCU, or I mean, I guess, is it really even like in the MCU as we know it anyway?
We've only got one major reference to the greater MCU, and that was on a sign on a bus.
I mean, I'm trying to figure. I'm like, where did you get that gun from, bro?
Right.
At the time, and then I remembered. Oh yeah, well, who knows where this is really set, and it could just be all a big crazy play inside one of Steven Mark's minds. So
that's true. That is true. All right. So after he gets shot, we get this amazing sort of purgatorial, display, falling into the waters as he's dying, and then he wakes up. And Geek to My Nerd actually says they think that it's a purgatory type thing, and everything in it is being translated. So that works perfectly. I was in that same vibe. This place is crazy because it's literally like a who's who of people that we've encountered throughout this entire series so far. From his supposed date, she's there. His boss is there. The cops are there as orderlies. Like everyone is there. Even the gold guy. That's the guy that's calling out the numbers in bingo, Crowley. What did that do for you once you saw that?
So this was the moment I was like, okay, this all makes sense. Like we're finally making some sense here. Like Stephen Grant's actually a character on a TV show.
Right, right.
So the real person is actually Mark. Okay. And then like this guy, it's Khonshu or whatever his name is. And then, I felt really bad for Mark at that point because stop following him. I'm like, just stop following the guy. Stop trying to pursue him. Just leave him alone.
Just let it be. Just let it be. I do like that.
He finally escapes.
Right.
And then there's this tomb. Help me, get me out of here.
Man.
And so this is what really threw me. Out comes Steven, and it's basically it looks just like Mark, and I'm like, okay, now I'm completely lost again. I don't know what the hell's going on now.
I think that's an honest point, though.
Nope.
No, that's an honest point, because at one point it seems as though everything is explained. Everything you can easily check it off and go, oh, he's literally imagined all of this. And just as quickly, they pull that rug out from under you, because why not? Like, that's the way to tell this story. I have to admit, though, I do want to get like a shirt of that Khonshu as a hummingbird. Like, there is something about that was such a great drawing, and I want to see it on a t-shirt somewhere. I don't even care. Like, I'm sure the internet, some bot is going to make that and it's going to send it to me. Please do, because I'll buy it, because I want to see that actually happen. But there were a number of different references throughout that whole thing. Did you see Gus? The goldfish, did you see him in the background there?
No, I didn't really pick out because I was too busy, watching.
Trying to be like
Mark trying to like escape his orderlies and whatnot.
Got you.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, there was a lot there. Like literally, so much is happening. You got the introduction of Haro as this analyst person who clearly identifies with the villain of this VHS series. Shout out to it being on VHS though. Like that took me back. That made me very happy. It wasn't a Blu-ray, it wasn't a DVD, it was a VHS. Okay, so that's how you know it's a loved movie. And I would watch Tomb Busters forever. Obviously, big Indiana Jones vibes. Are you an Indiana Jones fan?
I'm not like hugely an Indiana Jones fan. I enjoy it, but I'm not like fangirl type. Okay. Like I am for Steve Rogers. So go figure.
No, this kind of works. So you're not a huge fan of Indiana Jones, you're not a huge fan of Moon Knight. They put them together, and you're like, meh. Okay.
Oh, there you go. I mean, yeah, makes sense.
I got you. Absolutely. Geeks Miner says, again, very Moon Knight. There's a persistent theme in Moon Knight. Mark and the reader questioning what is real and what isn't. And that's very true. From the few things that I've read, definitely what comes across. And they definitely nabbed that, I think, better in this episode than they did anything else. Absolute crazy.
Like I said, this has been the best episode so far of the series. So.
I totally dig with that. Okay, so let's address the hippo in the room. Literally, like already we're seeing this kind of like crazy thing where you're like, wait, is it real? Is it not? Okay, maybe it's not. We see a sarcophagus that's bumbling, trying to get open, and they don't open that one. And then all of a sudden we're introduced to this goddess form, Tauret, the hippo goddess of fertility, birth. What do you think that means?
I have no idea. I mean, so I'm not well versed in like Egyptian. Is that even Egyptian? Like, yeah. I'm gonna guess it's Egyptian because that's the theme of the show. Of like the gods and whatnot, and all how that works. I mean, the one I know the most is King Tut. So
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I mean, it was really kind of bizarre to see a hippo coming out of nowhere.
Like it was definitely weird. It does make me wonder if we're gonna see Ahmet with the actual crocodile head or alligator head. Very curious about that.
There's a chance for Loki to come in on this thing. Alligator Loki. There you go.
If that doesn't happen now, this whole show is a failure. That's Jazz, that's genius. If they don't do that, I swear this whole show is a failure. Do you hear me, Marvel? I will cut you off. Yeah, no, because that is genius. That is
fighting words right there.
Whatever. Is it my fault that you just gave us such a sweet Come get her. Y'all say she just gave it to you. If that doesn't happen, I swear y'all cut off. You're done. Absolute genius. But no, she is the goddess of fertility or birth. Do you think that might represent the idea of this possible third identity of Jake being born?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about like the third personality already, and we just assumed it was the guy that suddenly just murders people. From that one episode where what he got stabbed, like this guy got stabbed or something, and Mark, I think it was Mark, did you do that? Why did you do that? And it's like, it wasn't me.
Steven's like, I didn't do it. And you're like, well,
sitting here like, okay, so there's another personality we haven't met yet.
We haven't met him yet.
I mean, I don't know if it's the one, if Jake's going to be born or what's with that, but that's an interesting theory right there.
Very true. Let's see. Geeksminder says she's also the one who told Mark about the map being a potential way to find the tomb. So when the avatars met up, Tauret was there as the woman that spoke to Mark at the time. So which is dope. So we're seeing that idea, recycling back, reoccurring, like a phase of the moon as things do. They start all over again. I do think that it's kind of interesting though that the last thing that we got from Khonshu really was not addressed at all in this episode of having Mark come find me, come free me, set me free. They don't actually address that. And I thought that was a very, very interesting dynamic because
maybe that one too was still in the tomb. Maybe.
Ooh. Okay, where are you going with that? Like if it's still in the tomb.
Well, I mean, because you said, come find me, come free me or whatever.
Right. So maybe like that's part of the
that was trying to get out that didn't quite make it out yet.
That's an interesting one. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to put a pin in that one and come back next week. And if it's not like that, I'm like, you guys have failed me because Jaz is writing a better show than you right now on the fly. Get it together. Literally get it together. Okay, so I mean, we've made it almost to the very end of this. What was your biggest takeaway from this episode?
Basically to still expect the unexpected, because like I said, once you have it figured out, you don't.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Oh my God. This was a wild ride. Definitely enjoyed it. Myself, I do think, like you, that this was the best one of the series so far. This is putting a lot of pressure on 5 and 6. They're going to have to come with it and answer a ton of questions. If there's one character that could possibly show up that would absolutely make this like a slam dunk win for you, that makes sense, because obviously you would cap it. I know you would cap it. Who would that be? Who's the person that could appear that you go, oh my God, yes?
Well, see now I'm gonna have to say Alligator Loki, just because from our chat earlier, I think that would be great. Because I feel like that would make some sort of sense in a weird kind of way.
Yes.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I kind of almost want to say Layla is an avatar too, in a way too. So maybe her double personality, but that would be a lot for this show. So
that's fair. If a member of the Eternals showed up, would it win you over? Would that be weird?
No, I'm it's no secret that I'm a big hater of the Eternals as a film. I'm hoping that what's coming is going to make me appreciate it, like Endgame made me appreciate Age of Ultron.
Okay.
Because I felt it was really weak in the lineup until, oh yeah, that's a really cool little throwback. So it made me appreciate it more. I mean, I could care less if the Eternals comes in. I really could.
I mean, Dane Whitman, if he showed up, I would appreciate that. That's really about it. Yeah. Maybe just give me a little bit of Dane Whitman that somehow, some way he's connected to this. I would be like, that's kind of cool. But we'll see. Obviously, we've gone through this whole episode with just me and you. We held this down. We did a good job.
That was fabulous. Yeah.
Right? Before we get out of here, let everyone know where they can find you in the social sphere of social medias.
So yeah, you can find me over at Rose City Widow on Instagram. I might get back on Twitter one day. We'll see, but I'm not really feeling it yet. I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. So.
I dig this. Final thought from Geek to My Nerd. I think we're going to end up with Layla being the new avatar of Khonshu, like you're talking about. So that could be a huge potential piece. I would hate, though, the idea of Oscar Isaacs being done in one in this series and not coming back as Moon Knight.
I mean, we've talked about that in the past on I think last week, where Oscar Isaac is one and done. I hate to see that too, because he's such a wonderful actor.
True.
But just I mean, it'll be really interesting to see where they take the show and the future of it. But yeah, and there's a lot of people that say Layla's. I'm sorry if I get this wrong, you guys, but I believe Layla's the next Moonlight is what you guys are thinking.
Okay. That's an interesting one because that hasn't been confirmed. So that's super dope.
I'm not sure, but
no. I like again, keep that out there because I want that energy to happen. These are good story beats. And we will get to find out next week. So tune back in with a whole new crew is going to be going over the 5th episode, the penultimate episode, actually, because there's only 6 this season. So I'm super excited about that. Guys, I've been your host, Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics. You guys can find me at Vantage In-House on all forms of social media. And before we go, I want to remind you all to follow your fandoms. This has been Fandom Spotlight. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. And we expect to see you next week, whatever personality you might take on. We're going to see all the personalities ourselves. So we're all just going to get crazy together. Let's get crazy. Let's do it.